Alright, so we are on page 121 in the Math 1 book, the red Math 1 book. Numbers 10 through 21, solve the equation, round the solutions to the nearest hundredth. This is the same kind of exercises as numbers 1 through 9, except now we're going to get some decimals. What I'm going to do to help you out is always reduce it in the simplest form before I round it to the nearest hundredth. So if that's possible. But anyways, so here all we have to do is subtract 15. Okay? So x squared equals, now I just do 23 minus 15. Let's see, 15 plus 10 is 25, so it must be 8. X squared equals 8. Okay? So now you're going to take the square root of both sides. And this is where some people run to the calculator, and I don't want you to go there just yet. I want you to simplify this because math teachers do care about how you simplify the square root of 8. Okay, we want you to actually memorize what this number is. What you're going to do is look for perfect squares that go into 8. Well, if you go out and list the perfect square list that matters, the perfect squares are 1, but that one really doesn't matter, maybe even 0, 0, 1, 4, 9, 25, oh, I'm sorry, I missed one, 16, 25, etc. Those are all perfect squares. Which one of these perfect squares goes into 8? Well, none of these really matter. And like I said before, 0 and 1 don't matter at all. But 4 goes into 8. So if I factor this, it's 4 and 2. Well, what is the square root of that 4? The square root of 4 is 2, of course. So when you take the square root of this, I'm just going to rewrite it as square root of 4 times 2. So what's the square root of 4? It's 2. So I'm going to write that 2 on the outside this time. Plus or minus 2, and there's still somebody left over. That 2 is still left in there. Okay? So I'm going to use a highlighter. Well, I think I am, if I can find it. Yeah, I'm going to use a highlighter to show you that this number right here, this 4, is the exact same number as this 2 on the outside. That is the exact same thing, because the square root of 4 is 2. Okay? So now, since this question does ask us to round to the nearest hundredth, I am going to grab my calculator and I will type in 2 times the square root of 2 and get my decimal. So 2 times the square root of 2. And this calculator is going to do something funny. And I'm going to show you how to fix that. So you see how it just told you the answer. Even if you typed in the square root of 8, it actually simplifies it for you because this is the TI-30XS multi-view. This is it allows for a math print kind of a mode. So I want you to push mode and go down to, as a matter of fact, I think there's a better way to do this. I think all you do is push this button here, and that's going to give you the decimal. Yeah, absolutely. There it is. So 2.83 is to the nearest hundredth. X equals 2.83. So that is a rounded answer. If somebody asks you for the rounded answer, then give them the rounded answer. But if they don't say anything about rounding the question or rounding the problem, the answer, then give them the exact answer because math teachers like it. Okay. So number 18, we are going to subtract 23. Just like we learned in the previous questions on this same page. So 3x squared equals 18 minus 23 is negative 5. Now I'm going to divide by 3. X squared equals negative 5 over 3. Now let's think about this. Something squared is a negative. Something squared is a negative. Well, that doesn't ever happen. You can take fractions and square them. They become positive. You can take 0 and square it. It's still 0. And you can take whole numbers above 0, whole numbers, and square them, and they're still positive numbers. So nothing squared is negative. So in this case, you got to watch out for this. This is going to be no real solution. And when I say the word real, I mean there's no real number solution. No real number solution. This is actually your answer. It's not this up here. The answer is no real number solution. Okay? And lastly, we have an example on number 21. A lot of people think to do the parentheses first, and that is true, but the 3 right here cannot be distributed through. That is multiplication. That is not parentheses. Parentheses is just what's inside. Okay? And then people think to do exponents, etc. However, what I'm going to ask you to do is just see that this is multiplication and ask you, how do you get rid of multiplication? You divide. So this is our easiest step here. So we have x minus 4 squared equals 3 goes into 18 6 times. So 6. Now we are going to take the square root of both sides, and remember, when I take the square root I can get a plus or minus here. So that gives me x minus 4 equals plus or minus the square root of 6. Okay, and then I'm going to add 4 to both sides. When you add 4, please do not put the 4 between the plus or minus and the 6, because that would turn it into multiplication on accident. You want the 4 to come right out here in front. So here's how we write it. X equals 4 plus or minus the square root of 6. Okay, and now what you do is you type in both of those answers. I say both of those answers because there's a plus and then a minus. So you type in both of those answers, 4 plus the square root of 6, and push enter. And then push the fraction button that I showed you earlier, this button here. And that gives you 6.45. X equals 6.45. And also x equals, now I'm just going to type in 4 minus the square root of 6. 4 minus square root 6. Push enter, and then push that button that turns it into a decimal. It's the button that looks like this. 1.55. So there you have it. I hope this helps you finish your homework, and I hope you know how to solve quadratics in this form now. Take care.